It's around noontime and we're at the MTR station. I want to show you what it looks like when it's not the rush hour. This is still our primary choice for a convenient and comfortable way to get around Hong Kong. I also want to mention that one of my favorite things about the MTR is the color coding of the stations, like the blue-green of Sham Shui Po. It's easier to confirm the location in this creative visual manner considering that these are subway stations constructed to look pretty much the same. I read a piece about the history of these colors and I'll link that in the description box if you want to learn how it became this way. Now, aside from the benefits of availing the on-loan octopus card, which I elaborated on in my first video of this series, my other transportation related hack is to invest in a retractable ID holder for your card. Mine is attached to a lanyard around my neck from which my phone also hangs. No more fishing for your wallet and you don't even have to bend to tap the card on the reader. We are now in Sham Shui Po, which is kind of, how do I describe this? It's like kind of like Divisoria, where there are lots of bazaars. Clothing, they're selling clothing, shoelaces, all sorts of things, fruits, beads, accessories. Lots of street markets. In Hong Kong, there are go-to discount shopping places typically part of the tourist itinerary like the Ladies Market and Sneaker Street. But Sham Shui Po is where the locals go and you'll also spot some expats who are in the know. Sleeping clothes, all sorts of knickknacks. Eyeglasses, sunglasses. This is where you can do a lot of shopping.
How much? 138.
Cell phone accessories, hair accessories, shoes, sleeping clothes. And the same up to the next block. So here, I'm about to get my egg tart fix. This is a small bakery, KD Bakery. And of course, the egg tarts are usually right up front. This one is $2.50. We have a few pieces left. I'm ordering. And the bakery is kind of like Plaza Fair. Yeah, Baker's Fair in Farmers. So there are a lot of specialty stores here. So if you are a crafter, I think you'd enjoy this. This shop just sells a lot of pens. And then they've got for bag makers, leather goods. There are also a bunch of restaurants here. Before, these streets used to be a lot of supplies and now machinery supplies, stuff like that. Now they have a mix of coffee shops. They have more new hobbies that they have, like LPs, and then they have a shop that sells, this is a shop that sells cycling goods, cycling supplies, helmets, bike parts, stuff like that. It's turning into a bit more hip, I would say. Yeah, you can see, I'll just show you right here. There's a boutique here. So there are now boutique shops like this. So that's the way it's getting gentrified. Like a shop that sells, I assume, poke bowls. This is a veterinary clinic, a vet clinic. And then I guess poke bowls. So it's becoming a trendier place compared to before, where it was a lot of just raw materials. Leather workshop. So now you can go and, so if you're a small time or artisanal bag producer, leather goods, you can get your textiles and materials here. For example, I actually spotted some expats shopping in one of these stores, so it could be a DIY or crafting project, or they may have a small business. So that's Sham Shui Po, a mixture of bazaars and hobby shops, as well as all the old stuff. Like hardware, supplies, things like that. Just to show you an example of how old and new establishments go together here, some of the shops on the left sell what I think are buckles, while this shop with a neon sign offers clothing and various vintage style trinkets. But their old-fashioned aesthetic is intentional, and the vibe of this area is kinda like Cubao X, and then the next store is selling leather. I find all of this fascinating because the new stores opening are still catering to a niche market, just like the old stores before them. Sham Shui Po is where you go to look for very specific things that you want to get technical about. For example, we even passed by a shop that sells artisanal soaping supplies, so this feels like a hobbyist's paradise. Stopped by this small cafe for a coffee break, and I accidentally ordered a yen yang, which is a mix of coffee and tea. They didn't have an English menu, so I relied on Google Translate, and there was a beverage that translated to Hong Kong style Mandarin duck. Needless to say, I was curious. I've had this before, and it's certainly a great caffeine boost. So here's more Sham Shui Po. 7-Eleven, lots of food vendors as well. Dried meats, what looks like chorizo, fruits. There's also a lot of small food shops here. They've got some dessert, mango sago type, osmanthus jelly, that sort of thing. Herbal juices. And then just a few steps down, look, someone's drying their fish. Old school hair salon, pet store, pet supply store. I think this is a real estate place, and they're also selling flooring. It's a real mix of different businesses. Here you've got traditional Chinese ingredients, dried stuff, nuts, tea, shiitake mushrooms, those goodies. Subscribe to this channel so you won't miss the next part.